Walden, or Life in the Woods, 1854, From Where I Lived and What I Live For by Henry David Thoreau, retold by Sara Simpson. I went to live in the woods because I wanted to slow down, pay attention to nature, and learn how to live a full life. I did not want to look back on my life when I was old and dying and discover that I had not lived. I did not want to live a fake life or just given in and keep myself busy pretending to want to like buying every new thing or spending time with people I did not like just to be accepted. I wanted to spend time paying attention to what's really important. I wanted to live deep and suck all the marrow out of life. I wanted to live as simply as I could. I wanted to get rid of anything I did not really need so I could finally understand the world. If I found out the world was wonderful, I would write about it. If I found out the world was cruel and terrible, I would write about that too. In church, people ask themselves what the purpose of humanity is. In church, people learn that glorifying God is the purpose of life. But I do not think most people live their lives in a way that glorifies God. Most of us barely survive and call it living. We are more like ants than like people. We work and work our whole lives and never take time to relax or enjoy the world around us. We spend our whole lives paying attention to tiny details that do not matter. Simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. We do not need more and more material possessions. Instead of worrying about trying to do 1,000 things, we should focus on 2 or 3 things and actually do them. We should be able to keep your accounts on your thumbnail. Simplify, simplify. Instead of eating 3 meals a day, just eat 1. Instead of having 100 dishes, just have 5. Our lives are superficial. We have so much stuff that we don't appreciate any of it. The only way to get back to living instead of just surviving is to get rid of all the extra ideas and belongings in our lives that we don't need. People think that buying things is the only way to live. They think if they have more things, their lives will be better. People think that they can't live without ice cubes in their drinks, talking on the phone, or riding in a car that can go 30 miles an hour. People spend all their time working at their jobs, but they do not spend any time working on becoming better people. If we do not spend time working on ourselves, how will we ever have the creativity or energy to work at our jobs? People think that the world will end if the railroad doesn't expand farther and farther. It is an interesting idea. If we spend more time taking care of ourselves, we'll have more energy for building railroads. But if we are happier with ourselves, we will not need to take train trips to escape life and to make us feel happy. We do not ride on the railroad, it rides upon us. Every piece of wood used to build the rail lines represents a living, breathing person who spent his whole life working so you could ride the train wherever you wanted to go. The railroad tracks we love so much were built at the cost of human lives. When the railroad is built in a new place, the people who ride the trains are happy. But when the people build the tracks, are sad. It takes a lot of us workers to make life convenient for the rest of us, and it isn't worth it. I hope that someday the people who are being worked to death for the sake of progress will realize they deserve to live and will stand up to the railroad companies. Walden, or Life in the Woods, 1854, From Solitude, by Henry David Thoreau, retold by Sara Simpson. My favorite times during my stay in the woods were rainy days in the spring or fall. I stayed inside my cabin all day and listened to the calming sounds of raindrops on the roof. The long, lazy days gave me time to think, and I had many great ideas during these times. During one big storm, lightning hit a big pine tree on the other side of the pond. When the storm was over, I went to see the tree. The lightning made a burned mark around the tree trunk in a deep spiral up the tree trunk. It looked magical. I was amazed once again by the power of nature. That was 8 years ago. I went for a walk recently and saw the tree again, and the deep mark is still there. When I talk about my time alone at Walden Pond, people always ask if I was lonely, especially on rainy or snowy days when I had to stay inside by myself. I want to tell them that I could never feel lonely when I know that I am part of the universe. I am never alone when nature is there to keep my company. I want to tell them that a person can be surrounded by other people but still feel lonely. Just because you are standing next to someone does not mean that you are sharing your thoughts with him. We see other people every day at school, or the grocery store, or the post office, or the bar, but we don't really connect with them. Nature is different. Whenever you are in the woods, you are connected in a very intimate way with the world around you. You can never feel lonely in nature.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and click on the link for more resources from Enraged2Engaged.